channel. Today I'm going to be doing my go-to neutral full-on glam makeup. So this is what I wear every single time I go out. So this is the makeup that I was wearing in my last video, the Ride or Die tag, and then the video of my Kylie lip swatches where I swatched Malibu, Kristen, and Ginger. Since this is the makeup that I was wearing in my Ride or Die tag, this is also all of my all-time favorite makeup products. So every single thing that I mentioned in my last video, I'm wearing on my face today. So it's kind of like my Ride or Die makeup look, if that's what you want to call it. So anyways, if you aren't already, then please subscribe to my channel. And if you want to know how I got this makeup look, then just keep watching. Okay, so I always like to start off with my brows just because I like the way that it looks when I do them first versus when I do them after I already have foundation and everything on. Now I'm just going to clean the bottom line up with concealer quick. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Concealer in the shade 0.75. Now to prime my eyelids, I'm using the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. I'm just going to be using my finger to pat that all over my lid. So the first shade that I'm picking up is this first brown shade. I'm pretty sure it's called Latinus. I'm just taking a Sigma E38 blending brush and I'm just going to be putting that in my transition area. Then I'm switching to a Morphe M518 brush and I'm just picking up the shade that's right next to that. And I'm putting it a little bit lower and closer to my crease and outer V. And since I always do a winged liner with this look, I like to wing the eyeshadow out pretty far. So that's why I put the tape there so I know exactly where to fan it out to. So I'm bringing it all the way out here just because I know that's where my wing is going to be. And then I'm using a Morphe M433 brush. Then I'm taking that first shade from the middle section and I'm putting that even lower in my crease. So I'm basically just starting with the lightest shade and then with every shade that I get darker, I put lower and denser. Then for my lid, I'm just using this white shade and a MAC 242, and I'm just dusting that all over my lid. Nothing special. Then for my eyeliner, I'm using the Sephora liquid eyeliner in the shade Matte Black, and I'm just going to be following that wing that we created with the tape. Now for my primer, I'm using the Makeup Forever Step 1 Mattifying Primer. I'm just going to be putting a little bit of that in my T-zone and then rubbing that in with my fingers. And if you have oily skin, this is the best foundation. I say this in every single video that I use it in, and I just can't say it enough. And then for foundation, I'm using the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Foundation. Just putting a little bit on the back of my hand. And I'm just going to dot it around my face and blend it in with a beauty blender. I found that blending this in with a beauty blender is the best way to use this foundation. When I do it with a brush, it doesn't turn out quite as good as it does when you use a beauty blender, so that's why I like to do that. And then to highlight the center of my face, I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I use the shade Light, and it's a little bit too light for me right now, but it's okay if you're just using it for highlighting. So I'm just going to be putting that underneath my eyes in triangle shapes and then down the center of my face just to bring everything forward. And then blending that in with a damp beauty blender again. Then I'm just going to be doing a little contouring on my cheeks. I'm using the Cover FX Blemish Treatment Concealer in the shade NX Deep. So I'm just going to put this in little lines right underneath my cheekbones. And then a little bit on my forehead. And then to blend that out, I'm using the Morphe E45 brush. So I'm just going to start working that into my hairline up here, and I'm using circular motions just to really blend that out. And then I'll be going in with a damp beauty blender after this just to really make sure that it's all blended out, just in case the brush doesn't get everything. Then to set my concealer, I'm using the RCMA No Color Powder. So I'm just dumping a little bit into the lid. First taking my Kat Von D Shade and Light brush, and then just putting a little bit into it, tapping off the extra, and then lightly putting that underneath my eyes. And then I'm going to go in and set that bronzer, and I'm using the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer in the shade Medium. So I'm just using a big fluffy brush. I'm just going to put this on the outsides of my face, just where I want to warm it up a little bit. I'm just going to touch up my eyebrows a little bit with this brow powder from Anastasia. This is in the shade Chocolate, and I'm using the darker brown shade, and I'm just going to touch up anywhere that we lost a little bit of that brow product. Now that I have my face on, I'm going to work on my lower lash line. So I'm just taking this brown shade again. I'm just going to start smudging that into my lower lash line. And then I'm switching to a smaller, fluffier blending brush. This is a Morphe B42 brush. And I'm taking this lighter brown shade, and I'm just going to start buffing that out. And then I'm lining my waterline with the Sephora Waterproof Contour Inner Rim Gel Liner. This is this nude shade. And I like using nude because it makes my eyes look so much more open and just wider and awake. And then I'm just going to put my lashes on off camera because it takes me a long time. So I'm using the Cocoa Lashes in Queen Bee. Now I'm just taking the brightest white shade from this palette and putting that in my inner corners. I love using this for my inner corners because it's so bright, and I used to like to use shimmery shades, but ever since I started using a really bright white matte shade in my inner corner, I've just fallen in love. Okay, now for my highlight, I'm using the Laura Geller Gilded Honey Highlighter, and I'm using a Morphe M501 brush, and I'm just going to be putting just a little tiny bit on the tips of my cheekbones. I'm not bringing that too far down just because I have some texture on my face right now. Well, I feel like I always do. But I don't want to emphasize that any more than it already is, so I just like to keep this pretty high on the cheekbones. And then I'm putting a little tiny bit on the tip of my nose. Okay, now for my lip shade, I'm using the Kylie Lip Kit Malibu Liner just to line the outside of my lips. And then I'm using the Steel Liquid Lipstick in the shade Bachi.